Hey everybody, you're probably noticing two things. A change of scenery, and B, a bird in the background. That's still set. He's playing with a glove. That's what he does. Don't mind him. Um, I wanted to do a video because I've just been seeing just a lot of negativity kind of circulating around the internet. So, another thing before we get started, if it looks like I've been crying, I have. Go fuck yourself. My service animal had passed away a little bit ago, and I just got her ashes today. So this is what's left of her. So don't judge. That being said, all the negativity that's going on with like the veteran community right now, especially like with GunTube related stuff, it's kind of just getting frustrating, man. Because first off, one team, one fight, right? Second off, I think there is really a difference in mentality the longer you've been out versus what your role was. There are some people who are doing stuff who are still in, who are making content, some great content. Trench Grenade, for example, makes really good content. There are people who've like recently transitioned out who are making good content. Stokermatic, I think he's only been out for about a year now. And then there's people who've been out for 20, 30 years. Lemon Grenade, Valhalla, like all these guys are like, just a range of skill sets, capabilities, time in service, what their roles were, all that stuff. And I kind of just want to like kind of say like we gotta change our perspective here, right? So let's rewind a little bit. I was a Quad Zero hospital corpsman who was in the reserves who did jack shit, as in for 2.5 years. Half of that time was at our recruit training command. The other half was with 224 Weapons Company, cross assigned to 4 Recon D. Now, just because I was with them does not mean I did any high speed, super cool shit. I talked with a couple of Special Amphibious Recon Corpsmen, SARCs. I worked with a couple of Recon Marines. And when I say work, I mean purely administrative. Didn't do any deployments. Didn't do anything like that. But I was in the presence of high-speed, capable individuals. And I tried to learn from them as best as I could without being able to be in the field with them and doing the awesome, cool stuff that we all fucking want to do, right? And there was an incident. Well, not an incident. There was something that happened, right? So I used to be a touring musician. Okay. And how I got to the level of touring was by having people give me constructive criticism and be blunt and direct. So this has always been something that I've valued and have expected, and honestly did really well for me when I was in the military. While everyone is waiting for praise and be told bravo Zulu for doing basic fucking tasks, there's never that person. In fact, I don't even give compliments to people in like a normal traditional way. To me, a compliment is earned when you've done something beyond your normal capabilities. That's when I will give you a compliment. And when I was talking with one of these Recon Marines, he was kind of like, I can't remember. It was about a drill, some fucking battle drill. And he was like, so many people want to be us, do all this awesome, cool shit, and they're not us. And they need to stop trying to be us. There's a reason why we do the things that we do. There's a reason why there's average infantry who go and do their shit. And he was applying that to me. He was basically saying, like, hey man, you're a Quad Zero corpsman. If you want to go be a SARC, go put it in the packet, go through the pipeline, and then we can kind of have a conversation. All right? Very polite, very professional, but the message was there. There's only so much he's going to listen to me say until I go and I fucking do it, right? And the SARCs that I worked with, Special Amphibious Recon Corpsmen, fucking great guys. They basically told me, it's like, hey man, all that training you got, being a Quad Zero Corpsman, basically means jack shit. And I can attest to that, because up until about like 2018, if you were a Quad Zero Corpsman, or even just an 8404 FMF Corpsman, you basically didn't have any medical skills when you transitioned out. So how does this all relate to everything, right? Well, that was a grounding, humbling experience, because it's like, okay, yeah, people need to take a step back, stop doing the Monday morning quarterback, and just kind of realize, well, what am I? What am I capable of currently? And how do I apply that to become better? One thing that you could do is stop listening to one party, okay? This isn't just a political aspect. There's so many GunTubers, YouTubers in general, who I gain information from, okay? Multitudes. Some who others have kind of discredited, some who are still up and coming and don't really have a credible enough record yet to see if they're capable. But it doesn't matter, all right? Because I grew up in the 90s when you gained information in a very neutral way before things became curated, before things became algorithmic, and everything was kind of curated towards your personal tastes. We kind of... Dulcet, come on, man, calm down. Thank you. I know. See, he's getting all riled. We got to calm down, okay? Calm down, buddy. Sorry about that. But in all seriousness, we need to gather information and kind of go back and pretend like we're in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and make sure that we're fact-checking and getting as much information as possible. Because there are some people who are extremely skilled and talented, but may not convey the information properly, and vice versa. There may be people who have virtually no skill whatsoever, but they're good teachers. You know, I was a music teacher for a little while. I'm definitely a better musician than I am a music teacher, but I work really well with absolute beginners because I can break down some very complex ideas for intermediate level guitars to very smooth stuff for beginner guitarists, beginner drummers, all the other instruments that I play. I freely admit I would not be the best teacher for more advanced techniques, but that's okay, because until you've been playing for X amount of years, it doesn't fucking matter. Everyone wants to do this high-speed stuff. Everyone wants to worry about the safety on their fucking gun and do all that stuff. It's like, okay, well, maybe, like, just go out there and train, you know? And I know that sounds very ironic. I probably don't look like the most fucking alpha shooter, awesome guy. And I freely admit I'm not. I'm very good with a handgun. I'm relatively good with a shotgun. I've only shot a rifle 3 times my entire life. I'll probably need to work on that. I need training on that. But I don't really go around and tell people what they should and should not do. Especially when it comes to the clapback of all the people with the whole safety thing, right? Like, to me, being in the military, safety was very fucking adamant. You know, I was in from 2015 to 2018. They learned a lot of mistakes in the early years of the GWAT era, and they realized the milliseconds that you save, and yes, it really is milliseconds that you save, not having safety and just engaging can increase negligent discharges, which increases friendly fire, or killing people who don't need to be killed, or should not be killed at that moment. So that's why we train and do the things that we do. But I'll freely admit, I've not really cared much about having the safety on when I'm doing, like, house tactical drills, because there's no one in my house. It's just me. So if someone's in my house, they shouldn't be there. And that's why I don't have my safety on. If I have a guest come over, or if I am operating with people who are on my side, yeah, I'm going to fucking have my safety on, and I'm probably going to be a little rusty because I don't really train that way that I should. And that's an excuse that I need to work on. I need to train, all right? I'm not being hypocritical here. I'm fucking practicing what I preach. Excuse me. So that being said, let's make sure that we're actually capable and competent of these, I don't even want to say beginner, we'll just say basic, rudimentary things that we can build off of before we start worrying about some of these high-tier problems, because I am sure you are a capable, competent individual, and I am fairly certain that in the right context, you could maybe be that special operations warfare guy. But if you don't got a Green Beret, if you don't got your Trident, if you don't got the title, don't worry about their problems. Worry about your problems. And when you're getting information from all of these quality content creators, keep that in mind as well. It is content. Okay? Some of those people are getting paid to put out a certain message. Some of those people have no sponsors whatsoever. other than their Patreon members. But it's still curated. It's still a little bit biased. And I don't think everyone is trying to be on the internet to spread bad information and say dumb shit or stir the pot. But I do think everyone has a fucking opinion. And they're like assholes. We all got them. It's like, okay, this is me sharing mine. All right? Make sure we understand the rudimentary and the basics. Make sure we train. We're consistent. We're good about those. And then after we do a little bit of work and we start making some credibility for ourselves and we have some measurable progress, maybe then we can start throwing our hats in the ring for these big ideas or these high-tier operators issues. But if we're not there, we shouldn't be. And I think a lot of people can benefit from having an open mind towards safety, especially when most civilians are going to go to jail for shooting their gun. And that's in the best case scenario. You will still be held for questioning for at least 72 hours and probably a pretrial depending on the state that you live in. And that's if you did everything right. So maybe don't have something that could make your situation drastically worse for yourself. Especially in a state that may already have the odds against you. That's, again, my 2 cents. I'm not telling you what you should and should not do. I am saying verify your sources. Verify those sources with other sources. Keep your mind open to all of this information. Listen to people who you wouldn't normally do, because sometimes you're going to gain some information from them. Don't discredit people who may not have the title or the skill, because maybe they are good at breaking down the components of the idea that you may have or may want. And make sure you train. Make sure you go out and you do the stuff. And try not to focus too much on problems that are above your level. Let's make sure we're good at what we're at before we kind of concern ourselves with everybody else's. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's all one team, one fight, right? When the post-apocalypse happens, without rule of law, whatever your favorite saying is, when that shit happens, we're going to need to work together, and we're going to need to be able to operate on a baseline level. So if we have so many people thinking they're special forces doing all this crazy stuff, and we don't have enough people here, well, your community is going to collapse, and then nothing's going to benefit. So you'll just have some raiders that are harder to kill. So if you plan on being one of those, and you don't really care about going to jail, you know, go ahead and keep practicing without safety and, you know, all that shit. If you are a Minuteman or would like to see yourself in that role during those situations, you should probably train accordingly. And according to most of the U.S. military, safety is pretty important. And not just safety. This is just the most recent thing that I've seen. As you can see, Dulcet's getting pretty frustrated about it, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up. Just keep yourselves in an open mind and verify your sources and listen to multiple sources. Go and train and just keep your eyes on the prize of what you're currently working on. All right? Take care.